wonderful to see so many Brigham and Women's Faulkner Hospital staff, volunteers, patients, family members, and people who know and worked with and are family and friends of Dr. Onaly Kapasi, who is here to read with many other readers from his amazing book, Mind's Eye, A Vision into the Depths of Consciousness. I'm Kara Marcus. I'm the Director of Library Services here for Brigham and Women's Faulkner Hospital. And we have a lot of books. This is certainly one of the special ones. And this book is by one of our BWFA surgeons, Dr. Onaly Kapasi. Dr. Kapasi is also Medical Director for Arthroscopy and Sports Medicine Center in Boston and the Chief Executive Officer for the Merrimack Valley Medical Center in Haverhill. Onaly, as he is fondly known, has excelled in graduate and postgraduate medical education in Pune, Bombay, Nairobi, Harvard, and Tufts universities. That's a real around-the-world education. He is a recipient of the AAPI Most Distinguished Service Award, the AAPI Dedicated Service Awards for 2 years, the Imani Dedicated Service, and the Imani Distinguished Humanitarian Service Award, the International Himalayan Institute's Distinguished Service Award, an honorary fellowship in American Academy of Neurological and Orthopedic Surgery, and many other awards for professional excellence, an Ethicon Award for academic excellence, a Best Paper Award for Cyanotic Hands from the Hand Society of the United States. He has founded free care and educational programs all over the world, in the United States, in India, Africa, and the Charitable Trust for the AAPI in international domain. He is the President Emeritus of SOSINA, the Indian Orthopedic Society, the Indian Medical Association and New England, Grant Medical Alumni, Bombay University Alumni, and the Maharashtra Medical Alumni, and that's just a few. His service includes the Massachusetts Board of Registration in Medicine. He was the chair of the Medical Licensing and Committee of Graduate Medical Education. He chaired the AAPI committees, many AAPI Executive Committee, and the governing body for many, many years. So, countless medical publications. Mind's Eye is his first book of poetry. And in publication, you'll see a beautiful poster for a forthcoming book, Kashmir on Fire, Sinkhole and the Stories of the Dragon, stories to my grandchildren. So maybe you'll hear a little bit about that too. But tonight you're going to hear all about Mind's Eye. I think you'll be delighted, intrigued, transported, and definitely it will open your eyes to Dr. Kapasi's world. So let's give a resounding round of applause to Dr.
Kara has done a tremendous amount of PR to put this program together, and I thank Kara for all that she has done. There are a few foot soldiers also who have helped tremendously, volunteers, family members, Chandra especially, who has put the cuisine together, helping me put this thing together. I would like to thank the Executive Committee of the Faulkner for allowing us the privilege of using Yuva's auditorium for this poetry reading. I have spent many times here at Yuva's, same venue, different topics. I have presented M&M rounds as a resident. I pre-presented a paper on psoriasis, which went on to, as Kara said, that went into get a national award for it. So it's been an amazing journey at Faulkner for me. This is now a different thing, that I'm reading poetries instead of presenting a grand round or doing something in medicine. But as I was talking to somebody outside, I said poetry and medicine are interconnected. There's no difference. It's just a transition. I would also like to thank the media who are here, Sons of India, Harish Dang, Gauri from Foundations TV. Thank you very much for taking the time and coming to spend time with us. My first poem, I'm going to dig right into the poetry because that's what you came in here for. And so I'm going to read you my first poem called Mother. It's an invocation. It's a salute to all the mothers. I was very fond of my mother, and most children are fond of their mothers. So I would like to dedicate this poem, Mother, to all the mothers in this room today. And it goes like this. I searched for heaven, far and wide. I walked the burning sands of deserts with no water by my side. In jungles of Africa I sought. I searched for heaven, but I found it not. I sat in solitude, night and day. The sage beckoned me to kneel and pray. I searched for heaven, and I found it not. In vain, for heaven I sought. Lost, tired, haggard, I returned to my mother's home. I searched in Mecca, Medina, Gangotri, Bethlehem and Rome, all these religious places. Tears of dejection. I constantly fought. I searched for it. I found it not. I washed my hands to eat my mother's food. Her love and understanding calmed my mood. As she walked away, my eyes followed her feet. Beneath her feet, heavenly light lit. I knew then my heaven was at my mother's feet. I believe that I have lived a very charmed life. Chandra, I would like you to come forward. That's why I kept the chairs in front. I lived a very charmed life. Chandra and I were not the norm. We met during med school and decided to get married. We follow entirely different religions, but we decided to make it go. Tough decision, especially in India, because people would have burned us at stake for marrying each other. But we managed, and this is a poem that is a tribute to my love. It says, Chandramukhi, my wife. Her skin, white, translucent alabaster. Her doe eyes, an envy of the Buddha. Her gait, that of a swan. Her lips, petals, dark pink rose. Proud as a peacock, gentler than a lamb. Voice of a coil. Coil is a songbird of India. Her breath, the fragrance of musk. Cascade of jet black hair. Sparkle in the eyes, a glint of mischief. Pearly white teeth, her heart-piercing smile. Chandra, thank you for everything. I'll give you a gist of the next poem which Chandra is going to read for us. We were invited guests in Austria to the Ambassador of India and had an opportunity to visit Mauthausen. And Chandra will tell you of our experience at Mauthausen and read you the poem.
So many stories of cruelty and suffering in this world. As the Ground Zero mosque saga in New York demonstrated, certain points in map because sacred because of their history, but quite how to consecrate them is a prickly question of justice and taste. I have visited so many places, and one place where we visited is the Zanzibar in Tanzania. the stone town was host to one of the world's last open slave markets. And I will tell you that if you go to Zanzibar, you need to look at those places and tears will come from your eyes. I saw the place where slaves were crammed so tightly that many fell ill and died. The atmosphere seemed so poisonously oppressive, though in front you see the beautiful sea turquoise color which I've never seen before. And then the second time when we went to Mauthausen and we were walking through those concentration camps, and suddenly I felt that I should have brought some flowers. And believe it or not, I was wearing this scarf. I wore it today because of that. And these flowers are stitched in this. But 2 flowers fell down. I don't believe in miracles, but it actually happened. And I just told Onaly. He said, "Oh, your flowers have fallen down from your scarf." I said, "No, I'm not going to pick them up." Because I was thinking that we should have brought the flowers, and I didn't bring, and they fell down. So I'm going to read the poem now. Piercing cries frozen in time, unheard voices of victims, silenced without any crime. Atrocities at Mauthausen against man, a vivid testimonial of a race that had run insane. Flowers on tombs, swaying in reverent silence, protesting of past human sufferance. Chains and shackles anchored to the walls, bitter memories of those captive within its halls. Rows of bunkers, remorseless tombs, scores of bunk beds packed in its rooms, gas chambers, incinerators, all exhibits of ghastly deeds, surgery chambers designed to fulfill perverse Nazi deeds. Mauthausen, town at the foot of this hill, cannot wash off the stain left by this death mill. Church, steeples, and townspeople trying to heal this scar, left by their reluctance, or spread the news of this atrocity afar. Humanity should never forget this gruesome act or fail to acknowledge it as a historic fact. Piercing cries, frozen in time, piercing cries must fall to tell of this crime. Thank you for listening. Thank you for writing. We wrote it that night when we went.
How the poem goes. Nameless faces, faceless bodies, piles of bone, some broken and some bought, all piled in wood cases. How can I find my sister, my brother, or my mother? How can I rest when they have not? Mindless killings, senseless killing, politicians inciting people What country, what patriotism can incite its people to kill? What is living without any will? No water to quench the thirst, little food, that one would not think of himself first. My heart is weeping with sorrow. I'm fearful of horrors of tomorrow. Walking skeletons, deprived of food. Deprivation of human dignity does nobody any good. This next poem is for my dear friend Dr. Khatri. Dr. Khatri was an eminent physician at Faulkner. We were standing on the lobby on the 5th floor, and I got this very weird feeling. 5th floor is the intensive care unit, and the subacute care. I got this very weird feeling, so I called one of the nurses in the lobby and I said, would you poke your head into room 5? And she told me in a very glib terms, that's not even your patient, what do you care? So I said, please, poke your face in. She poked her face in and called code 99. The patient was dying. So Dr. Khatri turned around and asked me, he says, how did you know? I just got that very strong feeling. And this poem, Lord of Death and Life, tells you why I got that very weird feeling. As a physician, I couldn't tell Dr. Khatri that I got this weird feeling because he would have laughed at me. But we as human beings have to understand that there is a sense which tells us of things that are happening around us. Lord of Death and Life. With open arms, I wait with open arms, I wait to offer my last breath to thee. You are so very well known to me. That day, the lady was dying of cancer, took her last sigh. I felt your presence as you passed me by. Desperately resuscitating my own child, I saw you then. My child was born dead, and I brought her back to life. I saw you smile, and I felt your zen. I knew not before that time that you could also gift life. I knew you only as the Lord of Death and Strife. You revealed yourself again as my mother gasped for air. I fought you with all the courage I could dare. My mother was on dialysis at Lemon Shattuck Hospital, and I was the only other physician, so I had to resuscitate my own mother. This is the second time around. Once again, you gifted me my mother's life. I acknowledge you. I acknowledge your deed, O Lord of Death and Strife. With open arms, I now welcome thee. You have always been fair to me. Now that I know, you also possess the power to give life, because you gave life twice to me, my daughters and my mothers. I salute thee, O Lord of Death and Strife. This poem is dedicated to Dr. John Khatri. Dr. Khatri lost his life in a car accident. He had just come out of his office at 1832 Center Street and was walking to the bank, and there was this young kid who was texting and driving. Killed him. Before I call the person who's going to read this poem, let me tell you a little more about this poem. But let me tell you first about this person. He's a wonderful person. You know how it is, there was a time when my children were known by me. They used to say, Onaly's son. Now it's turned. The roles are reversed. They call me Samir's dad. They call me Samir's dad. And Samir has always been a wonderful son. Just the other day, what happened is, Chandra came in late in the night to the bed, and she didn't want to disturb me, so she used the telephone as a light source, and somehow pressed his number. And he called the cell phone and believed the cell phone is downstairs. So we didn't pick it. So he drove down from his house in downtown Boston to see if everything was okay. Wow. So now that is the son that you always want to have by your side. Let me tell you about Ground Zero. Nasty things happened after 9/11. It was an awakening. During that time, it was decided that we should have a solidarity meeting, and I was asked to read a poem to open the day. So I was thinking, what should I read? What am I going to read, really? And I wrote down Ground Zero that day. One of the senators, I won't name him, was the keynote speaker. After I finished my poem, he came to me, stooped to my ear and said, "Son of a gun, I have to change my speech." I'm going to request Samir to come and read Ground Zero for us. No, because
I was requested to go to that side, but suffering 2 years as a coxswain in high school, I think you should be able to all hear me. I raise my voice a little bit. I won't be too loud though. So I'm going to read Ground Zero tonight. Thanks for the opportunity. So this is Ground Zero, a tribute. O sweet twin towers, from your fire let rise the phoenix of love. Love that knows not color. For what is color is the pain we feel. For what color is the pain we feel? Is it white? Is it black? Or is it brown? Wrath and anger only begets more anger. And wanton killing only add numbers of those already dead. Is it not love that triumphs over all evil? And is it not love that begets more love? Sadly, we lost our brothers and sisters that day. We lost a father, a child, and our only love. Did we not lose much not to learn to build our future with bricks of love? Did we not learn to rebuild with a mortar of caring and sharing? What color is our pain? Is it white, or is it black, or is it brown? If truly our pain knows not color, why target those with color? Why then burn their shops, their houses, or their places of worship? Throw not bricks of hate into their homes. Hate them not for their color of skin. There are as much Americans just like the rest of us, and their pain is no less, as in that rubble lie their sons and daughters. What color is our pain? Is it black? Is it white, or is it black, or is it brown? Just as our pain knows not color, let our love also be colorblind.
I know the program we have Sadly speaking, but I tried to, because some of the poems are so morbid, so I try to break down a little. I would like to next read a poem on Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa, wonderful lady. I mean, look at this frail lady. She went to Calcutta and she gave her life to these people up in Calcutta. And I used to think a lot about Mother Teresa. I was supposed to go and see her when she came to Boston, but somehow I was unable to go and see Mother Teresa. But I wrote this poem called Charity, and it really speaks my heart. True charity emanates from deep within our hearts. To give is not to part, but to impart. This unique ability of sharing is not just a token, but an expression of caring. The period between birth and death encompasses all, and it goes into Vedic philosophy. The period between birth and death encompasses all. Life's relentless journey will rise and will fall. Give generously today, that you may never receive tomorrow. Give generously today, that you may never need to receive tomorrow. Give not to glorify your being. True giving, you know how people bring big packages? They try to tell you, oh, I brought you a big it's not in the package, it's in the thought. The gift, the thought is the most important thing. Give not to glorify your being. True giving is without others hearing or seeing. Measure all your giving not by the size of the gift, but the love that makes your soul uplift. Now it goes into Vedic philosophy. Vedic philosophy talks about karma, and Atma and Paramatma. Each incarnate passage of life and attempts to clean the Atma. A sequential purification to reach all that is pure, Paramatma, God Almighty. Each of us will live a life of our own choosing. Hopefully, each life an attempt to ascend without any losing. Next, I want to, I just referred to Sajni as my daughter. She's truly my daughter. And Sajni is a wonderful human being. You have to know Sajni. She has a heart of gold. She is sharp as a tack, very brilliant, but never shows that quality I would like to learn from her. Sajni, would you please come and do me the honor of reading the next poem?
MIA. What does that really mean? Ask the mother whose son she has not seen. Young in age at 19, ready to serve his country with very high esteem. No questions asked at that time, now lost before his prime. No salute or folded flag brings back the son. The mother questions what the country has done. Did his life or death win peace or the war? Ask the mother whose heart it tore. Thank you.
There is a story behind this poem. I had a patient who was 85 years old, and she came to my office and we were chit-chatting. I know my patients extremely well. And as I was talking to her, tears were rolling down her cheeks. And I asked, ma'am, did I say something to hurt you? And she says, damn me, I forgot today was the day they brought me the flag. I couldn't understand it. I couldn't understand the emotion of what is it. You are blessed when you have the greatest teachers. I was blessed. Wherever I went, they held my hands and took me to the next phase. And they held my hand. And when I came to this country, there was a gentleman by the name of John E. Hall, who was a chair of orthopedics at Children's Hospital. I had a fellowship at Children's Hospital, and he once said that I was a general surgeon, by the way, at that time. I was doing an orthopedic fellowship. And he said, Oni, you'll make a good orthopedic surgeon one day. And I just jokingly said, who will take me? He says, I'll do that. And he arranged for my Harvard residency and surgery, and then I went into Tufts and trained to become an orthopedic resident. So this is a salutation to my teachers. We call them Guru. Guru, how can I repay you for this knowledge? Replied the Guru, knowledge is like a flowing river. Drink its waters to your heart's content, but acknowledge. Only a participation makes you a deserving receiver. I met Dr. John Hall in a bus ride in New Orleans many years after that. And I told, we were talking and I said, Dr. Hall, I thank you for bringing me where I am today. And he says, you're so wrong. You are where you are because of yourself. I just showed you the path. That is a true teacher. Like a ripple in calm waters, each circle larger than one before, knowledge grows as the ripple moves distant from its source. You know, when you throw a stone in the water, it makes a ripple and keeps on becoming bigger. The Guru initiates that ripple and lets nature take its course. He is not aware of the student's future afore. Some students will drink the water and dignify its source, and others fail and take life by its force. With the former, the Guru rises to immortality, and with the later, he succumbs to its mortality. The next poem is such an appropriate poem for just the right person. My friend, may I call you my friend? My friend Harish Dan is a name and a sound that is known to every Indian in New England. He keeps us entertained with his radio station every Sunday for the last 40 plus years. He is just a wonderful person. As a matter of fact, I sent him an email, I call him Harish G, and he says, am I that mature now? Please, it'll be my privilege if you recite.
Thank you. Understand. Talking of maturity and him calling me a good friend, I'll just read from the book he presented to me, and he said, Harish, a friend whose friendship enlightens, who is always there. You are the friend who is always there. Whether it's a sudden pain in my hand, my fingers get stuck, and I call him on Monday night and I say, I know Tuesdays you work in your office. Can I come in? He said, yeah, come in tomorrow, sure. I call him at home. Next day I go there. He said, come around 11:30. I said, okay. I go there. First we talk about the book, we talk about everything else except my hand. And then he takes care of it, of course. And then he says, stay here. I said, why? He said, come, let's go to the other room in the kitchen or wherever that little room is inside. He said, Chandra has made lunch for both of us. That's the kind of doctor I have. And the stories go around. I took one time a friend of mine, I know I'm not reading a poem, but it gets me so emotional and sentimental when I think of a friend who came from India, didn't have any insurance, wanted to show his knee. And he says, so I naturally took him to his Brookline office. I still can remember vividly on the second and third floor. We were sitting there, I'm perspiring because my guest has no money. And I said, what am I going to do if he comes up with a $500, those days $500 and $1,000 was a big money. And that, I'm going back 20 or 30 years ago. And I'm just sitting there, and then at the end of the day, when we get out, I asked him, I said, how much money do we owe you? He said, you don't owe me anything. These are just some of the stories which own me. So his book, when he writes all this emotional stuff, he means it by heart. When he talks about his love, her beauty and her black hair, it really is true, isn't it? So, ladies and gentlemen, here is the poem. I don't know why he gave me maturity. He must think I'm the oldest man in this room. Each step unfolding its own story. A man who has achieved fame and glory. Voice mature with years of phonation. String of words in precise expression. Facial creases and gentle gestures, all telling of a multitude of past adventures. Spring and fall, past and gone, but winter leaves not just skin and bone. Gentle snowflakes melting on the silver gray hair. I have no gray hair, but anyway, dripping down the furrows of his face. Brown eyes expressive of life that has been fair. High spirit and gentle grace. Each season leaving its mark, not affecting the soft interior beneath the seasoned bark. Thank you.
Now, there's a reason why I made Harish say this poem, because I wanted me to look good in front of him. Thank you, Harish. You're wonderful.
Thank you.
I want you to introduce the next person. She is a wonderful, popular lady, and I'm saying all this because she is also the president of the Indian Medical Association of Union. And I want her to arrange a poetry reading. That's the reason why I'm praising her to that. She is amazing. She is a physician. I've known Seema for a long, long time. When I had an office in Haverhill, she used to come and park herself during lunch hours because she used to get bored and she thought that, another Indian doctor. So she would come and sit and we would chit chat. And I used to tell her, I said, Seema, join the Indian Medical Association. She never did. And after I became the president, she suddenly decided to join the Indian Medical Association, and now she's the president. But Seema is not only a doctor, president of the Indian Medical Association, but she is a wonderful Bollywood dancer. If we would have had an audio thing just now, she would be dancing. I mean, she is so spontaneous dancer. And I would like to invite Seema to read the next poem. It's
Thank you, Dr. Kapasi. I would like to say a few words about Dr. Kapasi and Dr. Kapasi, if I may. I have known this couple for past 17 to 18 years now, and that's when I first came to this country, and I hardly knew any Indians. I was introduced to them through my family, and ever since, they have been a pillar of support for me. They've always been there, guided me, and mentored me whenever I've needed. So thank you. After that, when I finished my residency, as Dr. Kapasi said, coincidentally, I joined an office which was right next to his office. And we were neighbors for about 5 years. And Chandra used to visit off and on. And I think I remember Fridays were the days when you both used to go out for dinner. Always, you know, as a nice couple, I used to admire that. So I used to chit-chat. Those were the days when we used to chit-chat. He used to bring Diwali mithai to me always around Diwali time. And yeah, he did convince me those days to join Iman, but because of my engagements, my little kids, I could not do it at that time. But that always stuck around in the back of my mind, and due to his continuous persistence, today here I am, president of Iman, so I do give the credit to him. One more incident which I would like to mention, and I cannot walk out of this room without telling you, is about a couple of years ago when I fell during one of the Iman galas while performing a dance. Like you said, I like Bollywood dancing, so I was doing a performance and I fell and badly injured my right knee. And Dr. Kapasi immediately came to my rescue. He was so kind and compassionate and creative that what he did was he picked these table napkins, cloth napkins from the tables, made a sling out of it, put it around my arm, and immediately made me feel better. So that's how creative he is. And of course, after that, he was my orthopedic doctor, and I know why his patients love him so much. So I did not even know this poetic side of his before reading his book, but I'm very impressed and inspired by his poems, and I'm honored to read one of his poems today, and thank you for giving me this opportunity. Pierce the shroud of the night. Throw your stone skywards to pierce the shroud of the night. Know your inner strength and might. Even on the darkest night, the shroud has holes of light. Each hole from a stone that pierces the shroud of the night. Judge not your strength by your sinews, but by your mind. Mind that has power of a different kind. Power that can awaken sleeping destinies of hearts to be reborn. power that reshapes sick nations now tattered and torn. Those enlightened to know the path of truth, path that may be thorny and without a promise of fruit, gently persevere in your effort and be resolute but kind. And you never underestimate the power of your mind. Throw your stone skywards to pierce the shroud of darkness, where ignorance and bigotry dwell in its primordial vastness. Throw your stone to pierce the dark shroud of the night. Use your mind, and not your might, to spread the power of light. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Seema, and thank you for the kind words. The next poem, I'd like to invite Vikram Udeshi. Vikram is another phenomenal human being. He's the vice president of our biggest association, Indian Association, which serves Greater Boston. And Vikram is an MBA from UK. He does many things. He is also, by the way, captain of Waterfire, the Providence show, the Waterfire show. And he is also the president of a yacht club. I didn't know this part of him, that he also harnessed sails. So with that, I invite Vikram to read a poem called Digger of the Well.
First of all, good evening everybody, and thanks Kapasi for those wonderful words. I didn't know where you got that information from him, his social media and other places. Yeah, so just a small thing. If you haven't come to Waterfire, you really should. It's one of the 5 best things in the world to see after dark. Just check it out. It's beautiful. It's all voluntary work that I ask. So when Dr. Kapasi gave me this opportunity to read this poem, I really took it to heart, and I'm glad they made the right choice. This is a good lesson for all of us to keep in mind. So thanks for giving me that chance, both of you. That's wonderful knowing you. It's called Digger of the Well. Each day spent toiling to dig the well deeper, each evening return to the top without a sight of water. Then the water seeped, just as he doubted the well would yield, and to its brim with cool, sweet water it filled. Its water soothed the thirst of many who travel this land, resting weary feet from days of travel over the burning sand. Each day the digger kept the well in good repair, talking of it with fondness of his own air. Now that the digger is old skin and bones, he is unable to repair or carry more heavy stones. The wall is crumbling from need of work. He pleads for help, but the travelers call him an old jerk. He searches the horizon, wishing for his child to return. Tearless eyes are now so dry they only burn. The well is still filled with water to its brim, but the wall is crumbling like him who was once fit and trim. Thank you.
Once again, thank you all of you that you spend this evening with us. It is above and beyond. I really do appreciate it. Now, my friend, Professor Mahesh Sharma, I don't think I can say enough about this young man. And you see why I'm calling him a young man as he walks towards me, because we both share gray hair. Because when I call him young, then I must be young too, right? So, Professor Sharma is a very unusual human being. I first met him during a Diwali celebration when he read all the invocations in Sanskrit, the old, ancient Indian language like Latin. And I was just amazed, and he translated in English. And I'm looking at him and I said, this man is not even looking at the book. How can he remember so many words? But he's an amazing guy. And then as we went on, he tutored both of my children, because that's what he does for life. He is a teacher of teachers who teach children learning disabilities in mathematics. And he goes all over the world. And now, so how privileged can I be that he has taught my children and improved their learning disabilities in mathematics, and he is my good friend. I try to emulate what he does, but I know that I'll never get there. But I try. Thanks, Mahesh. Please. And I have given him a very appropriate poem called Interdependence. Because as I grew up, I was a go-getter, and I thought, I did it my way. I used to remember that song. Who was that? Frank Sinatra?
Yeah.
That was my theme song. I did it my way. Went to college my way, everything my way. And then I realized as I grew up that I did really not do it my way. I climbed on many shoulders. So Interdependence is a great poem for Mahesh, who is truly a wonderful human being.
Thank you. I mean, after so many words, one should disappear. To keep one's reputation unduly made, of course. It is good that the poets write. One of the original poets, Valmiki, in the opening line of Ramayana, writes a passage. I'll say it in Sanskrit and then I will translate it in English. Swanta Sukhaya Kaviravnatha Gatha. I'm writing this story, this poem, only for my own pleasure. I'm sure Onaly wrote these poems for own pleasure, but they have given so much pleasure to others. One time my grandfather said, I think we're talking about poetry of the scriptures, and he said, what is the mark of great art? I asked him. And he said, when there is a resonance of that poem, of that writing, of that art, piece of art in you, and there is an echo of your emotions, that is a great piece of art. When I read his book some time ago, actually this was one of the poems I liked the most, because it resonated so much. Interdependence. As I first stood up to walk, my parents held my hand. As I walked, waddling at best, they walked by my side. As I walked to school, they worried, but let go. As I returned, they waited to hear of my adventures. As I sought independence, my teachers held my hand. As I faltered, gently brought me back to track. As I learned some more, they taught me even more. As I left the school, they wished me well. As I grew up, my friends held my hand. As I worried, they lessened my load. As I walked ahead, they walked behind. As I accomplished, they celebrated my success. As I held my children, my family held my hand. As I marched on, they spelled my future. As I worried, they rallied to my support. As I matured, they shared my wisdom. Life is all interdependence. Thank you.
That brings us to the end of this evening. Thank you very much, Kara.
Thank you, Dr. Kapasi. I think everybody was so touched, and everybody found poetry that really they could feel within them, and in their souls. I would like to give you a gift from Library Services. This is a book you might have read, and it also includes poetry on doctoring. And you are a doctor extraordinaire. I hope you like it, as I hope everybody has liked, and I know you did, this beautiful evening of poetry.
Thank you very much, Kara. This is phenomenal, and I really enjoyed doing this. And thank you for arranging it. It was so wonderful.
Thank you, Kara, so much. This is a little love gift for you. I hope you enjoy it. You have done so much. Thanks again.
Well,
Nah,
thank you
feel
so much. It's been so wonderful to be a part of this. You don't believe.